I guess I've been using this language, this framework called fixed, flexible, freestyle,
I
where
haven't
there's
heard
some
that.
things that are globally fixed,
Yeah.
some things that are regionally flexible, and some things that are locally freestyle. And I think one reason why it's achieved such recognition is I think the world right now is very fragmented
Mm.
and polarized, and people don't necessarily want to get along.
Yeah.
And what I've liked about this framework is it's simple language. People
Yeah.
get it right away.
Yeah.
You don't have to sign a new agreement with each other when you launch something.
Right.
In fact, the agreements become easier to write and sign because you introduced this language 1 or 2 or 3 years earlier, and people are like,
Right.
well, I guess we're already doing this, so why don't we just sign it? We're already doing it
Right.
now.
Right.
And so we've introduced it for brand guidelines, impact measurement, technology, and a number of other things that continue to sort of be needed, risk management, et cetera, where we can have some things that truly people buy into, which support our theory of change and our impact at the global level, which are fixed,
Mm.
and some things which genuinely need to be different between Europe and Africa,
Yeah.
which are flexible. And then most of the decisions are really made at a local level, so it's freestyle.
Yeah. It reminds me of at on a much smaller scale, Asheesh, of the agreement I have with the CEO of Box of Crayons. And we're like, how do we figure out where responsibility lies? And we took a model from Susan Scott about a tree. And it's like roots, trunk, branch, twigs. And roots are my decisions to make. And there are very, very few of them as the chair of the board for Box of Crayons. Trunk are her decisions to make, but she'll talk to me about them before she makes her decision. Branches are decisions I will one day hear about, perhaps in a newsletter or as a kind of catch up. And then twigs are the stuff I'm never going to hear about. And we're constantly renegotiating or just re-examining that our tree around how does control and influence sit between the two of us.
I love that metaphor. I might have to use that as well. I'm a constant consumer of metaphor, so thank you for adding to my repertoire.
My pleasure. If I can dig further into this, how have you learned to walk at what appears to me an elegant balance between control and influence?
Oh, I have
You
no control. I have zero control. It's a very simple balance. I have influence, but very little control. In fact, I'm
right.
happily surprised when I realize I have control. It's a bit like a marriage. When you're happily surprised that
Right.
your spouse actually says, "Oh, you're right." It's better to just assume that you're wrong at all times. In a similar way,
Right.
and I'm being facetious. I think intentionally here by there's a wonderful book, Keith Ferrazzi, Leading
Yes.
Without Authority. Keith
Yeah.
Ferrazzi,
Yeah.
both you know him and I know him, and he's really a wonderful man. And his book, Leading Without Authority, which is on my bookshelf behind me, it really, I use it quite often because it really does remind me that there's so many things that you can do if you don't have control.
Right.
And frankly, it's so much better for everyone. It really is. There's absolutely no reason why somebody sitting in Boston should tell people in Malaysia or
Got it.
Japan or India what they should be doing. There's no reason.
So you sound calm when you say that. And I like to think that I'm okay some of the time, most of the time, perhaps, with I have very little control and all I have is influence. But there are sometimes I get twitchy about stuff. Uh, do you feel anxiety about the lack of control, and if you do, how do you manage with that?
Well, my colleagues at the worldwide level, of course, would love it if I were more, so let's say, control oriented,
Right.
because my philosophy of let all flowers bloom makes their job harder.
Hmm.
And I fully recognize that. And I do my best to support them and to clear obstacles in their way as much as I can. Having said that, clearly, there are cases where you've got to exercise the control using the governance tools at your disposal,
Right.
particularly if there's real risk or if there's ethics or if there's things that could really harm the organization.
Yeah.
But those are few and far between, thankfully, in our organization. So most of the instincts for control that leaders have, I will say, is because they think their opinion about something is smarter, better, faster, cheaper
Yeah.
than their colleague.
Yeah.
And it's taken me years. I mean, years. I'm still not amazing at it. And Marshall's, by the way, helped with this. And Mark Thompson, our other common friend, have helped with
Yes.
this. But just letting that go and realizing that it's possible that other people know more than you do,
Yeah.
and that you're not the smartest person in your room.
Yeah.
Or given what you say in your books, it's better to be curious rather than be prescriptive
Yeah.
about things.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the kinds of things that are, for me, really great leadership lessons given my
Yeah.
role.
Something magical happens as soon as you hit the subscribe button. Okay, not magical per se, but it's a great thing to do. You get all the videos as soon as they're released.